On this week's Kits and Cruisin, guest presenter Chris Goffey gets awfully excited over a Ronar. And Pen Roberts gets ideas above his station with the classy Royale Sabre. But first, we go back to the Great North Run.
When you say hot rods, this is what most people think about.
The last time I seen it at Billing, about half an hour later after you interviewed me, a drunk driver run up the back end of my van, damaging all the back of it, but put a couple of band-aids on it and it's all back together now and running nice again.
My name's Steve Wild. I own a 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air sports coupe. I've owned the car for about 6 years now. I bought it in a semi-finished state and I finished it off myself with parts that I bought from the classic Chevy club in America. One of the nice things about owning a car like this is you can still actually buy just about any nut and bolt for the car if required.
All started about 12 years back when Bob Chandler came to, he didn't come to Britain, but Bigfoot that smashes cars. And I taped the video when it were on and I thought, I'm going to make one of these. But I couldn't afford to make one full size. So I just set to and made one half size. It's 3'3" wide, it's 9 foot long, just half size of the real thing. It's got 2 reliant axles. The back one I've had to turn upside down so that it can drive forward. The 2 rear steering hubs are made out from mini steering hubs. The engine is a 700cc from a Reliant Regal 3-wheeler car. The rack and pinion is off a Mark II Escort. The steering column is off a Mark V Cortina. I'm going back 10 years ago. I did have it at a place called Greetland Gala, which is near Halifax, and there was a rugby team there. They were doing some sort of sponsorship thing, and they all took a fancy to it. I says, "Are we fixed for it?" We're a gala doing it, a charity thing. I says, "Are you all game for a tug of war with it?" And of course they all said, "Oh, you what? We'll lick the pants off you." So I just happened to have a rope with me, and we tied it to toe cut back, and they all took up their position, and they couldn't hold it back. They all fell on the floor and I was dragging half of them round field.
It's a 1937 Vauxhall 10. I've owned it for the past 4 years. Now it's a 350 Chevy, 5.7 Chevrolet engine.
As a first-time event, Elsecar turned out to be a fantastic day with a nice mixture of cars. Our Chevy ended up being voted in the top 5 cars of the day. If this has sparked your interest, go out, buy some magazines, find out where your next meet is, and come down and take a look.
Those normally sensible people at Quantum have come over a little bit bonkers. They're putting this car together over the Stoneleigh weekend. This is Mark Waldridge, Managing Director. Mark, you could have had an ever so slightly less stressful weekend. Why do this to yourselves?
Because we're mad, I guess. No, there is a serious side to it. People do think on the outside that perhaps kit cars are difficult to put together. We're here to prove today that a team of 3 people can do this over a weekend. It's not that difficult.
And you really think you can do it?
We're going to do it, yes. In fact, we're a bit ahead of schedule, so yes, we're going to do it.
And we're going to come back and see how these crazy people are getting on. This is the best thing you can do with an old Fiat 126 or a Mini. The NCF Blitz is cheap, cheerful, but a hell of a lot of fun. This mid-engine sports car was first shown in prototype form a couple of years ago and is now in production form at the Stoneleigh show. With its 2-litre 16-valve engine, it makes a nice alternative to all those MR2s out there. This 2-litre demonstrator swapped fuel injection for carburettors. A little bit naughty maybe, but it does liberate 170 brake horsepower.
This is the Phantom GTR. It is based on the Rover 827. It is not for sale at the moment. It is actually going to be for sale in about 5 months' time.
This car makes no apologies for the way it looks and is a nice alternative to the Mazda MX-5. It can be built for about £7,000 and bought for about £15,000, and it drives even better than it looks. Flying jackets, goggles, helmets. Where does one buy all these things? I'm with Julia from Bygone Era. Julia, who buys these things and where can one buy them?
Anybody can buy them. Anybody that has a car, a plane, just for fun, you can buy them. We do a lot of shows through the year. We're doing Goodwood Festival of Speed, we're doing COIS, we do the NEC at the end of the year, we did the London Motor Show last year. Anybody that's interested in cars, we're the people to come to.
So really, it's just big show events like this that you sell most of your products.
Yeah. We have run a mail order company as well, but to present it for people to come and see the quality, the type of thing that we do, we have to be at the big shows.
Has been, business been good here?
Very, very busy. Very pleased with it. It's gone really well. Yeah, fabulous.
Pen, I love this car. She's gorgeous. But what is she?
Well, she, if it be a she, is a Probe 15 styled by the great Dennis Adams.
Dennis Adams. Now, who is the great Dennis Adams? Tell me.
Dennis Adams is the man that designed the Marcos, who have taken part at Le Mans and are just a huge car manufacturer these days. Dennis also did the Rotrax and is just an innovator. And in 1968, Dennis and his brother designed this car, a Probe 15, the lowest car ever built to hit the roads.
Yeah, she is very low. She's amazing. I mean, the curves, she is just beautiful. I've fallen in love with her.
Oh, there you go. You see, the only problem is, of course, you can't buy any these days. So what you've got here is a real collector's item. This car's worth a lot of money to the right person, and it's been very nicely restored, and it's just a joy, isn't it, to see it like this.
This is Ralph, the owner of the car. Now, Ralph, where exactly did you find this car?
I found it hidden in someone's back garden. It's just a right mess. It's had chickens and flowers and weeds and God knows what in it. I found it about 15, 16 years ago. Spent 5-6 years renovating it and then just travel around all over the country, different shows.
So this was in someone's back garden rotting,
Yep.
And you've made her look like this.
Uh-huh.
She looks wonderful.
Thank you. My pride and joy.
It's an S&J Milano. I bought it second hand. I actually put a wanted ad in for it in the kit car magazines. Reason being, I wanted a 4-seater convertible. Having 2 kids, so most of the kit cars aren't suitable really. They're only 2-seater. It was part built, an unfinished project. Bit of a mess to be honest, so I took it apart and started again. It's taken me about 5 years. There was a house move in between that, so I blame part of the time on that. I had a few problems with it, but there was no instructions and some bits missing, so that's where the time came in.
Pen, I've seen loads of 2-seater stuff, not a lot of family stuff, but look what I found. Ooh. This, enormous.
Absolutely, great. It's a Rickman Rancher. It's a really good bit of kit. It's like a camper. It's one of the very, very large range of products that Rickman used to make. The company's now changed hands, but one of the things about Rickman was that when they came into the game, they came from the motorcycle world. Don and Derek, 2 brothers, very famous. They immediately brought the kit car world into a new era of quality. The cars were really, really well made, really, really well designed. They came in convertible form, they came in a camper form, they came in a 6-seater form, a 4-seater form. There wasn't anything, you know, anything you wanted to do, you could do it in a Rickman. You could take the family away in one of these, fit it out yourself, you know, fantastic. All Ford Escort based, really easy to assemble. They sold a hell of a lot of cars over the time period that they've been going, and as you can see, some of those cars are still going today.
This is a time trial, and they're all in identical cars, and they've got to negotiate this course in the fastest possible time.
Searching for the Force in part 2 as Pen Vader plays with a wet sabre.
Ah, can you hear that voice? There's that voice again. Can you hear that?
Pen, I can't hear a thing. No, I can't hear nothing. Come on.
Oh, all right. Oh, well, all right, Cathy. So what do you think of your first kit car show then, kid?
Well, I mean, eyes open. I mean, what's nice is that you and me can build a kit.
It's a sight to make the angels weep. Broken down English thoroughbreds. But if you truly believe in the afterlife, then there might be a future for these fallen beauties in reincarnation. Now, I've been writing about cars and presenting them on television for more years than I care to remember, and it's sometimes difficult to work up enthusiasm when you think you've seen it all before. But this is one story where I have no problems at all, because this is the Ronar. Ronar Cars goes back to the mid-80s when Arthur Wolstenholme built the first W152. Since then, he's never looked back. Fearsome machine. So, Arthur, tell me, how did Ronar start?
I was very interested in the Grand Prix cars of the 1950s, and to me that era of the front engine cars was the one I was looking towards creating.
And so you just went off and built yourself a motor car?
Yes, I studied some books on a lot of the engineering aspects, and just set about designing the car that I really wanted.
And was it right from the word go?
I think the style and the engineering aspects, yes, it was. I was very pleased with the prototype car, how it ran and how it performed.
And you've still got that prototype?
Yes, indeed, yes. I've been driving it for the last 12 years, and I've reached something like 80,000 miles in it. It's been very satisfying, and it's been excellent motoring.
You can buy it in kit form?
No, the car's available in component form for the enthusiast to build, but it's also available built by the factory to customer specification.
How much would a fully built-up car cost if you bought it from the works?
In kit form, the customer could put one on the road. If he had his donor car, which is an XJ6, he could actually get the car on the road for £12,000.
So how much would a rough old donor XJ cost you?
Oh, anything from £100 to £150 for one that's non-running, that we could use most of the mechanics out of.
If you build the car and sell it to a customer, how much does it cost then?
Well, for a high specification car that we would build, it costs from £24,000 upwards.
It all looks terribly solid, but I mean, it's a very high-powered car. If you were in an accident, what about the safety side of it?
Yes, we have many safety features. The car has been extensively tested, and in fact, the car will be TUV approved. And to do that, we've had to have seatbelt testing to ministry standards, and it is a very safe car.
Now, this one's fitted with the V12. I mean, it must be extraordinary. These rear wheels must spend all their time spinning, don't they?
Well, it has been known to spin the wheels, certainly at quite an excessive speed, yes.
Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's go and drive it. Well, if you're going to drive something like this, you might as well look the part. first impression is of build quality. The car feels totally unlike a lashed together kit car. It's big and solid, all the controls feel like a Jaguar's should, and the steering is light and free from kickback. And despite the massive weight of that V12 engine, it's actually quite nicely balanced with 50-50 weight distribution. I wasn't going to push that hard in a car that a customer has taken a year to build, but a lot of Ronarts equip themselves well on the track in sprints and hill climbs, and if it was mine, that's where I'd be headed. I've driven some mad creations in my time, but this is incredible. And the reason it's such an amazing car, because under the bonnet here, 5.3 litres of Jaguar V12, they put 6 twin-choke Weber carburetors on it. It's producing about, I don't know, let's say 350 brake horsepower, and you won't be too far wrong. 0 to 60 under 5 seconds, and maximum speed, well, how brave are you, and how well can you withstand the blue bottles on your teeth? They've had one up to 180 miles an hour, but that would take a substantially braver man than me. But in a car weighing less than a tonne, you can see why this is serious supercar performance. Well, it's not often I finish a car test saying I really want one, but I have to confess I'm seriously impressed by the Ronar. Let's think, a second-hand old XJ6 for 250 quid, couple of spanners, pair of pliers, kit from Ronar. Yeah, I could do that.
Hi, my name's Lloyd Hankins, and this is my Midas, and I'm Kits and Cruising.
We're here today on a wet and rainy Bamber Bridge to visit the Royale Motor Company. Now, back in the 1920s, a brilliant guy called Ettore Bugatti produced the state-of-the-art car, the Royale. There was only 7 made, and one of those only made it to a chassis stage. If you're going to call your car the Royale these days, you've got to be sure you're producing a future classic. I've come here today to see if they are. Check this out. So, Frank and Janice Moyer, you've built a really lovely Royale Sabre. Why?
We saw it at the Kit Car Show at Kenilworth in 1995 and decided it was the car for us because it had enough luggage capacity for touring.
And what do you use the car for?
Touring around. We've just come back from a tour of Scotland, so it was very nice up there. Weather was good and the hood was down most of the time.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, John, this isn't your first Royale?
No, it's my 4th one.
Your 4th?
I built 2 Sabres and a couple of drop heads, which is the bigger car. But this is the one I like to build.
This is your favourite?
Yeah, yeah, it's my favourite.
Any specific reason why you built these other cars?
I'm just an enthusiast and I just like to do it.
Right.
And they're just quality built cars, which I enjoy doing.
How long did it actually take you?
It works out about 500 hours.
About 500 hours?
Yeah.
Well, that's a part-time work.
That's part-time work, yeah.
It's typical, isn't it? The cameraman is sat here with me. We're hurtling through the gloom that surrounds Bamber Bridge at this time. The producer said he'd got everything sorted out, everything bar the weather. Nevertheless, the Royale Sabre copes with it admirably. It doesn't leak, it's warm, and it's dry. Having said all that, for between £8,000 and £10,000, you've still got what is essentially a kit car. But so high are the production standards used on this car that there is no way that an average person getting into it could tell the difference between this and a production car. It really is superb. I'm with Ann and Lynn Barlow of the Royale Motor Company. Ann, you're the front of house for the company.
Right.
How long has the company been going?
We've been in the business about 15 years altogether. Royale's been going for 7 of those 15.
Right, and in that time, since Royale started, how many Sabres have you sold?
We've sold about 200 Sabres.
That's a lot of cars.
It is, and we've sold about 100 drop heads.
About 100 drop heads. 2 model range currently and a new model to come, I believe.
Yes, we've actually got 2 new models this year. We've got the Royal Windsor to be launched in June.
Right.
And the new model's the Secret.
And the new model's the Secret?
Yeah.
Will we be getting that first?
Oh, yes.
I should hope so. And there you have it, the Royale Sabre. A car for all reasons and a car for all seasons. If it was up to me, they wouldn't be getting this back.
Next week, Cathy Brookes takes a look at the classy Chesil Speedster.